So you're standing in your garage or workshop, staring at a pile of metal you need to join together, and suddenly you realize this isn't just about picking a welder, it's about not wasting money on the wrong one. You've probably seen the Millermatic 211 Pro pop up in your search, and yeah, it looks solid on paper, but let's be real, the last thing you want is to drop serious cash on something that ends up being overkill for your projects or worse, underpowered when you actually need it. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. This isn't one of those flashy consumer-grade machines that promises the world but can't handle a real workday. The 211 Pro is built for people who weld regularly, not hobbyists who fire it up once a month, not weekend warriors who only tack things together. If you're building trailers, repairing farm equipment, or fabricating custom parts for clients, this is the kind of machine that shows up ready to run every time. It's not trying to be a jack-of-all-trades that compromises on quality, it's designed to be reliable when you need it most. Now, let's talk about what actually matters once it's out of the box. The Dyna-Pulse feature is a game-changer if you're welding thin materials or doing anything where heat control is critical. Instead of burning through sheet metal or warping your workpiece, it gives you a tighter arc and better puddle control, something you'll notice immediately when you're trying to lay down a clean bead on 18-gauge steel. And if you've ever struggled with inconsistent settings, the Auto-Set function is a lifesaver. You dial in your material thickness and wire feed speed, and the machine handles the rest. It's not magic, but it sure feels like it when you're not constantly tweaking knobs between passes. But here's the thing, this isn't a machine for beginners who are still figuring out what they need. If you're just starting out and your projects are light-duty like repairing a fence or making small brackets, you'd probably be better off with something simpler and cheaper. The 211 Pro is overkill for that. It's also not the best choice if you're mostly welding aluminum. Sure, it's flux core and spool gun ready, but aluminum welding demands a different setup, and you'll still need to invest in the right consumables and torch. If aluminum is your main focus, this might not be the most cost-effective path. Where this machine really shines is in a small shop or mobile setup where you're doing a mix of MIG and flux core work on steel. The included running gear makes it easy to move around, and the cylinder rack keeps your gas setup organized. That might not sound like a big deal until you've spent 20 minutes untangling a hose or wrestling with a welder that's too heavy to lift into a truck. The fact that Miller includes all that up front saves you from piecing together a cart later, which is a nice hidden value boost. One thing to watch out for, the learning curve isn't just about technique. If you're used to basic MIG machines, the Auto-Set and BeadVision features take some getting used to. BeadVision, in particular, uses a camera to help you see your weld pool better, but it's not a substitute for good technique. Some users find it helpful at first, then rely on it too much and forget to develop their own eye for the puddle. Don't skip the manual, spend time with the features before you jump into a project. Another practical note, the duty cycle is solid, but if you're pushing it hard all day, you'll still want to give it breaks. It's rated at 210 amps at 20% duty cycle, which means you can weld for about 2 minutes at full power before it needs to cool down. That's fine for most repair work, but if you're doing production-style welding, you might want to budget for a higher-end machine or plan your workflow around cooldowns. So who should buy this? If you're a professional or serious DIYer who needs a reliable, versatile welder that can handle steel projects day in and day out, the 211 Pro is worth the investment. It's built to last, easy to set up, and the included accessories save you time and hassle. But if you're just dabbling or your projects are light and infrequent, you'd probably be better off with a smaller, simpler machine. Bottom line, this isn't a machine that tries to do everything. It does a few things really well, and it does them consistently. If that matches what you need, it's a smart buy. If not, you might end up paying for features you'll never use. Either way, do your homework first, because the last thing you want is a welder that sits in the corner collecting dust. Check out the Millermatic 211 Pro with running gear and cylinder rack using the link in the description if